bath.
Don't know why you should think that.
No need for false modesty. Now, how far have you got on with Udolpho?
I've just got to the Black Veil.
The Black Veil. Well, I wouldn't tell you what's behind it, not for the world. And when you've finished it, you will read The Monk. That's my brother's favourite, you know.
Oh, yes, he spoke of it. Is it really very horrid?
It is the most horrid, shocking thing in all the world. Ambrosio, the monk, begins very holy, but is drawn into vice by Matilda, and she gives him a magic branch by which he can pass through walls and into Antonia's bedchamber. But it is too shocking. I should blush to tell you. You must read it yourself.
The friar pronounced the magic words, and a thick smoke arose over the magic mirror. At length he beheld Antonia's lovely form. She was undressing to bathe herself, and the amorous monk had full opportunity to observe the voluptuous contours and admirable symmetry of her person as she drew off her last garment. At this moment a tame linnet flew towards her, nestled its head between her breasts, and nibbled them in wanton play. Ambrosio could bear no more. The blood boiled in his veins, and a raging fire rushed through his limbs. "I must possess her," he cried. No, Ambrosio. I shall no longer be able to combat my passions. I am convinced with every moment that I have but one alternative. I must enjoy you or die.
She's nothing to you, you know.
Miss Morland, Mrs. Allen, Miss General.
Mr. Tilney, you must have thought me so rude, but they told me you'd gone out in a phaeton, and then when I saw you, I begged Mr. Thorpe to stop, but he only went faster. If only he'd slowed down, I would have jumped out and run back to you. Please believe me, I would 10,000 times rather have been with you. Are you and Miss Tilney really very angry with me?
I must confess I felt a little slighted, but my sister was quite sure there was some misunderstanding. Eleanor, you were right, as usual. Miss Morland is not to blame. She was abducted by force.
No, not exactly, but truly, I did try to make him stop.
Don't tease her, Henry. You were quite cast down when you thought Miss Morland preferred the company of others to your own.
Perhaps she still does.
No, indeed. Oh, that is...
Then may I renew our invitation? Shall we say the day after tomorrow for our walk?
Yes.
Miss Catherine Wayland, very amiable, though very rich, too. Ordered by Mr. Allen, who made a fortune in trade. And with no one to spend it on but her, she'll bring a deal of money to her marriage. When the old man pops off, she'll be one of the richest women in the country.
Obliged to you, sir.
Thorpe. John Thorpe. Delighted to have been...
Mr. Thorpe, perhaps you'd introduce me to the young lady.
Miss Morland, this is General Tilney.
Charming. And did I overhear a country walk proposed?
Yes, sir. The day after tomorrow.
Then perhaps you would do us the honor of spending the rest of the day with us, after your walk. If Mr. and Mrs. Allen can be persuaded to spare you.
I'm sure they'd be happy to spare me, sir. And I'd have great pleasure in coming.
Excellent. I shall look forward to making your better acquaintance, Miss Morland.
What do you think, Catherine?
Oh, it's wonderful. It reminds me of the south of France, the Languedoc, you know?
Yes. Have you travelled much in France?
No, not at all. I've never been there. But I've seen pictures, and it's just as Mrs. Radcliffe describes it in Udolpho.
Ah, Mrs. Radcliffe.
But I suppose you don't read novels.
I read Udolpho straight through in 2 days with my hair standing up on end the whole time. I often think there's more life and truth and feeling in a good novel than in 100 dull sermons.
Do you really believe that?
Oh, go on. Don't wait for me.
Why should you think I don't believe it?
Because I think you like to tease me. Because the real world's different from the world in stories.
Is it?
Of course it is.